Hey, all you Matthew studying peeps. This is just the best lesson about the unforgiving servant. Matthew 18:21 through 25. So forgiveness. I keep hearing that song. I grew up in the 60s, 70s. Forgiveness, forgiveness. And I got to say, if you set your mind to forgive someone, it is a powerful emotion. It sets you free. And I mean, if you can concentrate and try it, forgiveness is very powerful. It's empowering to you as a person if you forgive someone. So let's look at this. And in the first, Jesus says you got to forgive somebody 70 times 7. He's not saying keep a tally at 490, cut it off. That's not what Jesus is saying. We're to never stop forgiving. It's not always a reality, but it should be our heart. Okay? So Jesus tells this parable, try to make a point. And the talent that he's talking about here equaled 20 years of earnings. I did some research on this. He owed 10,000 talents. So today's term, are you ready for this? The debt would have equaled about $1 billion, with a B as in boy, dollars. If you could not pay it, you would become a slave. And we're not talking slave like there was before the American Civil War. In fact, it was a common thing. People would get, how do you get $1 billion in debt? Whatever. It was sometimes an honor to be a slave, and your whole household and your people in that household would get sold, and you would to pay off your debt. But in verse 26 and 27, the guy says, give me time. And he could never have paid this back. But in verse 27, he gets forgiven of his debt. And I want you to know this would be true forgiveness, would it not? It doesn't mean that we have to open ourselves up to debt again. We can forgive someone, but we can also move on. It's very important. You have to, a lot of times people say, well, you got to forgive me. You're a Christian. Yeah, I do have to forgive you, but that doesn't mean I have to go back for more and I have to open myself for more abuse. So that's something, we are required to forgive, but we're done when it comes to relationship severances. Now, I want you to think about the guy then that owed him. He owed him 100 denarii, which in today's terms, that would be 100 days' wages. So I'm going to look this up now if you can understand it. Not 15, but 1/500,000% of the previous man's debt. I'm not a math person. I'm a history person. So I don't know if you can get your mind around that. There's a little bit. It wasn't a big deal. But he put him in debtor's prison because of it. And this is not a hard parable to understand. I think there's some things here that Jesus wants us to know. Our sins are beyond repayment, number one. And the next one, I kind of want to save it for last, that I want to talk about. But any offense that are committed against us by others are small in comparison. Think about it. Jesus understands that they are real, but if we compare them to what we have done to a holy God, there is no comparison. God expects you and I to forgive as we have been forgiven. If we refuse, God has the right to administer a punishment. There's a lot of things I can put up with in this world, but I don't want God mad at me. I don't want him saying, whoop, you're going to get it. Nope, don't want that. And the last point I want to make is that God has canceled our debt. All of it. And when someone's debt gets canceled, someone has to pay. Student debt or whatever, student loan debt, taxpayers have to pay. Someone has to pay. And Jesus paid it all. He canceled our debt. A lot of things I think I deserve. I deserve a good job. I deserve, because I work hard, I deserve drive a nice car, and I deserve nice clothes. These things that we think we deserve. I'm going to tell you right now, we deserve hell. But God forgives us. He's very forgiving. He's very loving and kind. Oh, that we can be like that. I hope y'all have a good week. Remember, forgiveness is powerful. Cancel someone's debt against you. Have a good week.